This finish, West Ham United 1, Everton 1 outside of London Stadium on the boats. Danny, what do you make of that?
Well, I didn't think we played too bad. The problem was I don't think we took our chances. Now, obviously there weren't loads of chances in the game, but I thought first half West Ham had better of the chances. Should have put a few goals in the back of the net, to be honest with you. I don't want to keep digging him out, but Haller today again had a good header in the first half. He should have really put on target. I'm not saying he can score him every time. It was over a bar. He ain't there to do a lot more than do those sort of things, and it never really happened. I thought a Jetty come on and looked lively, but it's the first time he's done anything since he came. Snodgrass tries 100%, but I didn't think he had his best game in the world. Zabaleta was good today. I thought he was excellent, but again he didn't have a lot of pace against him. If you ain't got pace against him, he's a great defender. Diop played well. It's good to see him having a good game. But then again, on the corner, I thought with back three or back four, whatever you want to say, the centre backs didn't really deal with it when they scored their goal. We should have won. We need a win today. The thing is, we can look at the fixtures coming up with Liverpool twice, Man City, Leicester away, Brighton at home, and we've never beat Brighton in the Premier League, funnily enough, just a statistic for you. We could well be in the bottom three after these next 4 or 5 games, and then we're chasing for the rest of the season, just trying to get somewhere. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit worrying. Does
the performance though, well it was a decent enough performance, yeah. They created a lot of chances. Does that give you a bit of hope in the more difficult fixtures like the Leicester and Man City? Have you got any hope?
Well, there's always hope with West Ham. I mean, we often pull off a surprise. How many times we've been dead and buried and we do something we don't expect? But you can't rely on that. I mean, what we need to do is win the fixtures where we've got a good chance of winning. I mean, today against Everton, missing Sigurdsson and Richarlison, you've got a good chance against them. And don't get me wrong, they've got good players. They've not got bad players. They've got a good manager as well, I think. But you've still got to win these games. These games are the games you've got to win, especially when you've got the run we've got coming up, as I said, you know. So, yes, I'm not disappointed with the performance, but I'm disappointed with 1-0. You've got to win him.
Last question for you. I'm asking everybody this one for the last question. 10 years, David Sullivan and David Gold, a lot of pressure and focus on them this week. What's your thoughts on it all?
Well, I think a lot of the time they try to mislead people. They never really sort of tell the truth. I mean, the people like me and you and the rest of us on here who really follow the club in detail know full well they're making a lot of money out of the club. They're still going to be paid back what they've paid for the club eventually, and they're also going to get whatever they sell the club for. So they're making a fortune out of the club, and all they try to do is make it sound like they're the saviours, and they're not really the saviours. If they want to be the saviours, they've got to really do something a bit more than what they're doing at the moment. I mean, at the end of the day, we should have a training ground like Tottenham's, not a training ground like we've got now. I mean, it's all right buying people like Haller for 45 million, but you sold 3 strikers and replaced him with 1. All right, a Jetty, but to be fair, until today, he looked like he wasn't even in the mix, does he? You got rid of a goalkeeper of Adrian's class, who's a great backup keeper, and brought in two park keepers. Sorry, I've done that in disrespect, David Martin, but you knew he was there just for training. Obviously, Roberto weren't up to the task. You've really got to do more than that. That's not good enough. Every time he buys a fullback, it's either a free transfer or someone who's past their best. There's a lot of things they're accountable for. I know I always blame the manager, it's poor me, but they make the manager. It's up to you to pick the manager. After 10 years, if you've picked the wrong manager every time, it's your own fault. You can't do the job properly, can you, really?
Fantastic. Thank you as always, Danny. Pleasure. Take care.